Hello, hello, and welcome to 1111 Oracle. Today I would like to talk about, um, oh gosh, there's so many things I want to talk about today, but I am going to talk about how you can manipulate energy around you to help you to feel calm. So I practice Reiki. I had to be attuned uh, via a good friend of mine who happens to be a Reiki master. And I practiced with her, and she attuned me to the symbols, to the Reiki symbols. Now, Reiki is something that was developed in Japan, but energy healing and energy manipulation have existed for as long as anyone can remember. I don't think that we have any records on how old this practice is. Since energy is everything, it's very well possible that this has existed for eons from the dawn of time. Now, to call it Reiki is just to put it in something that um, can be easily accessible to the public and understood. And as humans, we like to organize things that are intangible. We like to categorize and we like to organize. But whether you call energy healing, or whether you call it Reiki or something else, at the end of the day, we are just transferring energy and reorganizing energy that may be stagnant in a toxic pattern or formation that makes us feel ill at ease and disaligned. Okay, so although I'm not attuning those of you who are watching to Reiki, I'd have to do that in person, I think. I don't know for sure if I can do it distance wise. I'm pretty sure that, you'd have to be here in person. That being said, I'm going to give you some tips and techniques on how you can manipulate energy around you to help create a soothing environment. So, one thing that you should definitely practice on a daily basis, if you're not doing this already, is to meditate. I think that spending time in meditation and outside in nature, if you can meditate outside in nature, even better. What you're doing is you're coming into alignment with your inner self, your inner being, and you're creating a certain frequency in your brain that is a lot more relaxed and has a different sort of vibration to it than you on a day-to-day doing tasks kind of feel. So meditating on a daily basis gets you in touch with those higher frequencies. Spending time in nature and respecting nature also does the same. Walking outside in nature, sitting outside in nature, gardening, all of that can be very meditative. There's more than one way to meditate. You don't just have to sit down on the floor cross-legged. That is a traditional Indian practice, but there are many more ways that you can meditate without having to sit down and without necessarily even closing your eyes. It's all about the intention. When you are manipulating energy, I want you to think of it like this. Imagine energy as some certain particles in the air. Okay? And if you actively work with those particles, when you're moving, if you just move your arm, you're moving those particles around, right? Okay? So I don't want you to think of energy like an intangible thing that doesn't exist. It's there. Uh, it's everywhere. And you already move it around just by being you. You and your person, you are energy. So just being you, you're already moving energy around. Okay. Now let's get to it. How can we actually work with energy? All right. I'm going to show you something that you can do. I want you to take your hands and rub them together. Rub your hands together to create friction. What you're doing is you're taking that energetic, that energetic particles, whatever we have at the base of it all, and you're moving it around. You're creating this friction. Any scientists watching this, please excuse my lack of technical terms. All right, creating friction, rubbing your hands against each other. And now, when you're ready, release your hands. You should feel certain things within those two palms. Write down in the comments below what you feel. Do you feel tingling in your fingers? Do you feel heat? Do you feel a pressure? See what you feel when you move your hands close together and move them apart. I know we used to do all kinds of things like this as kids, right? Moving them together, moving them apart. Do you feel any kind of sort of resistance? Is it more subtle? So I want you to try that a few times. Just practice moving your hands apart. Do you feel any kind of resistance or pressure or sort of an elasticy feeling that feels like your hands are bouncing in and out? Tingling. What do you feel when you bring your hands very close together? Is that pressure bigger, more intense than when they're further apart? Do you get more of a resistance when you push your hands closer together, right, than when you have them further apart? Maybe it's the opposite. I don't know what you feel. You have to let me know. Okay. Now I want you to take this energy that you created within your palms, and I want you to place it on, let's just start with the head. I want you to place your hands on your head. Place them on the sides of your head. Now we're going to be using our imaginations. I want you to imagine that energy from your palms circulating in your head, cleaning out any kind of toxic, stagnant, stuck energy patterns, realigning, reorganizing the energy is basically what you're doing here. Whether you think this is silly or not, imagine if you came to this video, then you're somewhat open to the idea. Just keep imagining that energy circulating around. Now, imagination is a very strong significance when it comes to everything that you do. Since everything starts off in the mind, you can think it, and you have a plan. It's obviously something reasonable. Then you can probably manifest it. Your brain power carries a significant amount of energy. Your body has a significant amount of energy. You have an electromagnetic field around you. Some people call it an aura. All of this is energy. When you use your imagination, you're setting a mental energy, a mental intention to your practice. Whether you call this a placebo or not, There is something to focusing your intention on something and manifesting it to the way that you like. Doesn't always work out that way. We always have to keep balanced. If you haven't already, take your hands off of your head. Do you feel any different? If you have a headache, does it feel lessened? If you are worried, do you feel more calm? Let's do the same thing with our chest. We're going to place our hands on our heart space, and we're going to start off with rubbing our hands again. So taking your palms, rubbing them together, rub together, creating that friction of energy until you feel like you have enough. Releasing that, feeling that those pins and needles, feeling that quote unquote energetic pressure that you might feel. I want you to take your hands now, one in the other, doesn't matter if it's the left hand in the right hand or vice versa, and I want you to place your hands on your heart space. You can place them directly on your heart, or I like to place them in the middle of my chest, upper middle, near my collarbone. I want you to just hold your hands there, imagining the same thing, moving that energy through the body, reorganizing the stagnant energetic patterns that are not flowing the way they should, reorganizing those negative energetic patterns within your heart space. And when you're ready, see how your chest, your heart space feels now that you take your hands away, place them on your lap, for instance, if you're sitting. Do you feel any different? Do you feel any different within your heart space? Do you feel any different within your head space? So, tips and techniques for manipulating energy. 1. Make sure to meditate often, if not have a daily meditative practice. Spend time in nature, connect with the plants. The energy coming from plants and nature is very potent and very strong and very calming. And especially if you're an empath, this is a great way to heal your own spiritual self by spending time in nature. Okay? All of this will help you to raise your vibration. Okay? Then, of course, we talk about the practical techniques of rubbing your hands together to create friction and then placing them on the physical areas where you're feeling pain or anxiety or you just need some comfort. You can do this for yourself and you can do this for others if they are open to it and if they are willing to try it out as well. Using your imagination as well, make sure that you also imagine that energy flowing through your body. This is kind of like your brain is sort of the captain of the ship. By imagining where the energy is going, think of that as an intention. Imagine that the head of the household says, I don't know, give you an analogy, I just saw this Spanish show, and I really liked it. And it was about, it's called La Cocinera de Castamar, the cook of Castamar. It was on Netflix. I'm not advertising the show, but I just enjoyed it. And they're the head of the household and the servants. And the head of the household tells the servant, okay, we would like this meal, and da 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 da. So imagine imagine your imagination. I'm being a little redundant, my apologies. My apologies. Think of your imagination like, the head of the household in that sense, okay? And you tell the energy where to go. So that would be like the head of this mansion telling the servants, I would like to have this for the guests. It's kind of the same thing. And that mental energy that you're creating within your brain when you're imagining things, setting intentions, actually does a lot more than you think it does. Just because you can't understand something from a scientific level or you can't see it doesn't mean that there's nothing to it. Of course, if you don't resonate with that message and if it doesn't mean much to you, I respect where you're coming from. But I just thought I would share some of my techniques and tips for being able to manipulate energy in order to create a calm space. You don't have to only place your hands on a body part. It could be on a plant. It could be just opening your hands up towards the room and you imagine that energy circulating around your space. There are a lot of different things that you can do in order to manipulate the energy this way. So I hope that you enjoyed that video. I hope it was helpful to you. Let me know in the comments below if you felt anything interesting, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in.